We can do most anything. So do not be afraid. The price has already been paid. We'll just have to ask of him. And now I pray these words that you'll hide them in your heart to sustain you on your way to live your life for Jesus Christ. There is no better sacrifice. And on that final day, he who overcomes will inherit all things, and will belong to him, and he will be our king. He who overcomes will see him on the throne, and he will be our God, and we will be his own. Oh Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know me when I sit and when I rise. You see my thoughts from far away. You watch over me with unfailing eyes. And before I can speak, before a word is on my tongue, you always know just what I'll say. Your knowledge and your plans are far too wonderful for me, but you always listen anyway. Search me, oh God, and know my heart, and let me know what I should do. For the purpose of my life is to be in your will, and the pleasure of my life is pleasing you. And when I do wrong, well, like a child I always run and foolishly try to hide. Oh, won't I ever learn that you can see all of me, even what is way down deep inside?
Good morning, everyone. Let me crank this down a bit. There, I think we're better. Well, I'm more centrally framed. You're not better. You have to look at me. Good morning. Glad you're here. I'm Tyler. I'm your bulletproof pastor. I'm here because of God's armor and bulletproof because of it. You can get God's armor and be bulletproof too. Danny Thrive was first in. Tanya, Leah, Scott, John with his herd of clams. I want to see a clam rodeo. And Jamie is here. Moni is here. And tomorrow we will have Moni with us sharing testimonies. So make sure don't miss it. You got to be here for that. X-Swagger, Lone Palm Homestead. All right, I think we're there. Okay, that's all so far. I start a little early, and let me tell you, Michigan Daffodil, glad you made it. All right. Oh, you have an aunt, Tanya, you have an aunt that lives near Texarkana. It's Kana, but other than that, you got it right. It's like Arkansas, because it's Texas and Arkansas right on the line. Texarkana actually straddles. There is, if you look at a population for Texarkana, you'll get a different population for Texarkana, Texas, as you will for Texarkana, Arkansas. And there's only one city called Texarkana. But half of it is in Texas, and the other half's in Arkansas. And they have a road called State Line Road. Wonder what that's all about. Yeah, right down the center line. And straddling the line is the Texarkana Post Office. The Texarkana Post Office literally is half in Texas and half in Arkansas. Interesting bit of stuff on that. But if you want to know the population of Texarkana, you have to look it up on Texas and then look it up on Arkansas and then add those two, because that's the total. Yeah, Michigan Daffodil, we do have ice scheduled for here. We never know. You never know. Whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, whatever the weather will weather the weather, whether it's cold or hot. It's you never know with the weather forecast, because they're guessing just like everybody else, and this storm is not given clear, solid paths. It's got a lot of wiggle room. How is your Atlanta? Our Atlanta is 30 about. Oh, we are the other Atlanta. And when I do a Google search on anything and say Atlanta, Texas, they say Google comes back, the AI comes back. There is no Atlanta, Texas. There is only an Atlanta, Georgia. And I will copy back and it says, you are wrong. There is an Atlanta, Texas. It is, and I give them the zip code. And then Google sort of climbs all over itself, or AI sort of climbs all over itself, trying to correct itself. But they keep getting it wrong. Yeah, a flea market. Yeah, you can buy all the fleas you want. Come see my dogs. Actually, our dogs haven't had too many fleas this year. Yeah, I have seen everything from 2 inches of ice to perhaps no ice. We may be mist. We may get just a little bit of cold weather, to 7 inches to a foot of snow. Has all been forecast for where we are. Kleiner Oat Hex, good morning. Yeah, it can be either way. Now, Moni's going to get hit. 9 inches of snow. Yeah, they're even saying up to 11 inches of snow here is possible. Less than reliable weather forecasters. But yeah, Moni is further north than I am, and she's under the bubble. She's where she could get some serious weather. And I got on a little bit early this morning because we need to talk about this a little bit before we do our Bible devotion. Glad everybody is here. Yeah, how do you prepare for this? Well, the best way you can prepare for this is probably about a year ago. And so what do you do now that it's, last minute preparations? And most people don't prepare until the last minute. That's why I had the name of my book, the name of my preparedness book is 11th Hour Preparedness, or what do you, basically, what do you do now? It's coming on you and you haven't prepared. The best preparation starts when you're a little kid, and your whole lifestyle is that about learning how to do things, learning how to be more self-reliant. It's sort of it's a term, but it's also not the way God made us. God made us to work together as a community. He made us as a community kind of people, and we work with our neighbors and together. Being self-reliant just means you're not reliant on the infrastructure of stores and goods and services. It doesn't mean you're a lone wolf. But we're talking about a big storm coming, and it's going to impact excuse me, is going to impact some areas that we definitely need to have some answers for. We need to be able to mitigate the worst that it can do to us, and then hope for the best. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. This big storm, it has some double punches on this thing. Number one, they're expecting there can be long power outages, because if we get 2 inches of ice storm, those 2 inches of ice can build right up on the power lines and break them. You don't think of 2 inches of ice being that much, but if it's 2 inches of ice stretched out over the entire length between the two poles, that's a whole lot of weight. And an excessive amount of power usage during that time can cause collapse all by itself. So the power companies are even saying, look, we could have power outages. We're going to get on it as fast as we can, but you need to prepare in case we lose power. So what do you do? Well, how do you get heat in where you are? Even if you have a gas furnace, it needs electricity just to light and to circulate the blower fan so that it can circulate that heat. So if you lose power, your furnace is not going to work, period. You need alternative heat sources. And we have two. We have the wood stove right behind me, and it's and I bring firewood from the barn, which is like it's probably about 150 feet away from me where I have the wood stacked. But when I know it's going to be real cold, I will shuttle wheelbarrow loads of firewood and bring it up towards the house, and I stack it up under the carport so that I have it close by. That's getting it ready, getting it prepared. That's our backup heat source. But you know what? That backup heat source, we have a fan in that wood stove, and that fan won't work if we lose power. So I have to have a backup source of power. I do have a generator. That's a good thing. Generators are very helpful. It's helped us through several disasters. This is an old generator. I probably ought to have a new one, and I ought to get a new inverter generator because they're the best. But it's what I have, and it works. And I can keep my batteries charged. I have a deep cycle, heavy, big trolling motor battery, really. And we haul it out camping, and I should trade it in and get or just buy a lithium iron phosphate better battery. They're super better gooder, but you know what? This one works, and it will keep things like our diesel heater. We have a diesel tent heater, one of those square boxes that burns diesel and puts out forced air, runs on 12 volts. Well, you know what? You can run that on a cord that you have prefabricated to run off of your car battery if you start your car, but now you're burning gasoline. And that thing will heat a room, but not much more. Everything is about options. And like I say in almost every presentation of preparedness, I can give you options, but nobody can tell you what you must do. You know, for every problem, there are probably a dozen good answers for how to mitigate that problem, how to answer it. And I can just share with you a bunch of options. You pick what works for you or what can work for you. But you need to consider what the problems and the challenges might be, and then use the brain God gave you to come up with answers for that. And there's a whole ton of them out there. You know, a diesel heater, it's a great idea, but you're not going to get one today. You know, you're going to order it and get it on its way, and it'll get here about 3 or 4 days after the power comes back on. You know, that's the way this kind of stuff works. Credit cards will get you inches into preparedness and miles into debt. So come up with a better answer than that. If you have a wood stove, get your firewood up close to the house. If you can't have a wood stove, like you're in an apartment and everything is based on electric, you better have another plan. Because this power outage that they're talking about, they're not talking about a couple hours like we're normally used to. They're talking about several days, perhaps a couple weeks in the worst areas. Power outage for a couple of weeks, you're going to hole up in an apartment that depends on electric heat. That's also going to freeze your plumbing pipes, and you're not going to have water. You've got a lot of issues with that. You need to find better shelter. And the time to go probably find that better shelter is go stay with family or friends ahead of time. Because along with this ice storm and massive snowstorm is going to make the roads impassable. So think about it. You're at the worst possible time with the roads not passable. Your house is turning ice cold and you can't get to where a warm house is waiting for you. Think about that. Maybe it's better to go before the storm hits. You know, that's what, if you're in an all-electric home and you don't have resource to make it without electricity, go early. It's okay. If it doesn't come and if it isn't bad and if you don't lose power, you had a good visit. We have some neighbors here that are in an all-electric home. Everything, all of their heat and all of their everything is all electric. And if we lose power, she called down yesterday and said, can I come see you guys if my electric goes out? I says, if the electric goes out, you better get down here. Don't make me come after you. You know, but she's close enough she could walk. But yeah, that's important. Get down here. You know, get to where there is resource to keep you warm. Shelter is the most important thing. You can survive 2 weeks with no food. You know, you need water, but 2 weeks without food, you can survive. People have done that. But you're not going to survive 2 weeks without shelter when it's cold like this. So you need that. Electricity, when it goes out, think about that because that's your source of heat. How would you heat your home if the electric is off? How are you going to cook food if the electric is off? You know, if you have a gas stove, you can at least light it with the range, the top. The oven, no, you can't light the oven on a modern stove because it has an electric igniter. And if that electric igniter does not heat up to a certain point, it won't turn the gas on. And you can't do it with a Bic lighter. But the top burners you can. So plan your cooking on stovetop if you have a gas stove. If your stove is electric, you better plan something else. And I'll tell you, they make these little one burner butane cook stoves that cost about $26. And they take these cans that look like a paint can almost, and it's a can of butane. And these things work wonderfully. They are tremendous little cookers. And those things, like I said, $26 is the average price for one of these things. And they're a fabulous backup. If you've got electric cooking, you need one of those just hanging around. But it's a little late to go running out and getting one today. I don't think Walmart has any. If they do, they're probably all sold out. So you got to plan something else for your cooking. Somehow to get your food heated up. Batteries. It might even be too late to go get batteries, but try. You need some batteries, and you need a flashlight in every room. We put flashlights everywhere because when the lights go out, it's dark everywhere, and you'll be in the one room that doesn't have a flashlight. Maybe even as the storm goes, keep one with you. There you go. Ruth, you got it. Cans of sardines, canned salmon, canned chicken, canned veggies. Canned food is ready to eat, already cooked. Yeah, Scott, you got it. In the blizzard of 93, 27 days with no power. 20 days to get a snowplow there. Yep. When the big, oh boy, what was it? End of late 70s? I think it was the late 70s. The big blizzard that hit Washington, D.C. 23 inches of snow in 4 hours. Yeah. That, we were without, we had to take the sled, the toboggan, and walk to the grocery store to get a few items and come back. And, that was a mess. And it took them forever to recover from that. Yeah, 78. Thanks, Scott. Well water or city water, absolutely. That's where I'm glad I've got the generator. The generator powers my well pump, and so I can get water. But if you don't, you need. We also collect rainwater, and our rainwater is our preferred drinking water. Our well water tastes fine, but that rainwater is just so sweet. It's so good. We love that, and we use that for our coffee and drinking water and that. So I have 4 or 5 of these 5-gallon jugs that I keep topped off with rainwater. And that is just, that's in the house all the time. If not, well, I was at Walmart the other day and I saw people with baskets full of water. And that stuff is going fast. It's not going to, again, you need it ahead of time. So fill every pot and kettle you've got with water. And another thing, they fill your bathtub with water. And make sure that's full, because even if you lose water to the house, you can flush your toilet with a bucket of water. It'll work. And you can either pour the water into the tank in the back and actually flush it, or you pour the water straight into the bowl and it'll flush the toilet. In the Philippines, I've seen as many flushing toilets that don't have water connected to them. They've got a bucket there with some water, and that's, you pour that in there and the siphoning happens and it'll flush. So yeah, that's a way to do it. You don't have to use drinking water to flush a toilet. Yeah, terracotta pots will build a mini heater, but those things usually use votive candles, and yeah, it's comforting, but it's not going to heat your house, but it'll warm your hands up. Yeah, there you go, Delaney. Those pouches, those foil pouches with tuna, chicken salad, and crackers and all that. That you can live on that. Fill the tub with water. Yep. Yeah, Tanya, getting stuck at work during the 78 time frame. We had some really bad snow in the Pacific Northwest, and we lived in North Bend, which was up towards the pass, so we got it even worse. I had a four-wheel drive Blazer, 31-inch tires, and I had chains on all four wheels, and I still couldn't drive that all the way to my house. I had to drive it down the road a bit after two hills, so that I could make it out from there. And I just was always prepared. And when we had this really bad storm, ice and snow and everything was just really bad, I was one of probably 6 people that made it into work in our very large office complex. And one of the ladies that was an office administrator, she made it in, and how did you get here? She says, I never left. She walked across the parking lot and rented a room in the motel right next door. And that's where she spent the night. And she came back to work the next morning. And that's how she made it. So that's kind of the way it is. Yeah, I think those things are called bobs, and it's a great big bag that you can put in your bathtub to hold it together, and then fill it with the spout, and then that water will actually be safe, good to drink. Okay, the chlorine to water thing. Here's the rule. First thing you want to do is to clarify the water. It means get rid of any suspended side. If it's cloudy water, you can't make that clean to drink with chlorine. You're just not going to do it. You have to let it settle, and then let the solids settle to the bottom. But if the water isn't clear, don't try purifying that water, because bacteria grows on particles, and what's making the water not clear is an immense amount of suspended particles, and you're not going to get ahead of it. You're going to put a toxic level of chlorine in there in order to kill the bacteria. So trust me, that doesn't work. So here's the rule. You can use alum if you have a lot, and you can mix up a solution, put it in there, and it'll cause the suspended solids to sink. That is how city water systems work. But if your water is clear and you smell it and you don't smell any chlorine from the city or anything else, then you add 16 drops of chlorine per gallon of water. 16 drops, okay? Now, you shake all that up and let it sit for 20 minutes. Now you take the cap off and smell it. If you don't smell chlorine, add 16 more drops. Repeat, 20 minutes, shake it up, 20 minutes later, take the cap off and smell it. If you still don't smell chlorine, dump it. That's not safe water. Adding more chlorine will not be healthy for you. And that chlorine got exhausted by working on bad things in the water. So it's not good water. So that's how it works, okay? Yeah, no, and make sure your chlorine is just plain bleach. None of this scented stuff, none of this gel stuff, none of that. Just plain bleach. 5%, typically it's 5%. Yeah, now I forget the name of it, but it's the actual chemical in the bleach. I know it when I see it, but I don't have to worry about it because I know it when I see it. But yeah, no bleach tablets, no scented, no gel. Reverse osmosis is good, but you're going to have plaster, water pressure to make that work. Good on you, Tanya. Yes, chlorine is for safe storage. All right. Yep. Yeah, fill whatever you got with whatever clean vessel you have, fill it up with water. Okay, but think about the impaired roads and the shelter. You know, the most important thing is that you get to a warm place. And you need to almost make that decision before the storm hits, because that once the storm hits, it's not going to be safe to be out on the roads. The roads are going to be very dangerous, very, very sketchy. Think about your animals too. We have 5 dogs. Can you imagine bringing all 5 dogs in the house? 2 of them are inside dogs. One's an old dog, so she can't go out, and the other one's a little itty bitty dog, so that's a foot warmer. And then the one is the growing puppy. So we actually have 3 dogs inside. 2 dogs stay outside, but the outside dogs, I put their 2 houses together, and then stacked like Legos, hay bales on top, to the sides, in the back, and then put a lot of hay inside the boxes. So they're in a dogloo, if you will. They're in a very well insulated doghouse, and they will stay fine in there. They have their own little den in their cave. So unless it got way, 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 way cold, like below 0, which isn't going to happen here, they're fine. But think about your animals, because if you're going to get below 0, your animals probably need a warmer place also. I don't know. I think I covered it all. You can't possibly cover it all, but I covered as much as we probably can. There are water tablets for purifying, Ruth. Yes, there are. There's halozone tablets. There's iodine tablets. And there are even chlorine tablets, but they're specifically made for purifying water. And what we had in military back in the dark ages, we had halozone tablets, and you put 1 tablet into a canteen of water and shake it up. You know, it was what you did. No, I don't put the dogs in the barn. The dogs would go crazy and drive the goats crazy. So, now the animals in the barn, what I do there, they're all hay burners. Goats eat hay, donkeys eat hay, and hay is what keeps them warm. They eat the hay, and as the hay digests, it creates heat, and so they get heat from that. So you put plenty of hay out there, extra hay, so that they will have extra hay to munch on and keep warm. The other thing is that I don't clean the barn out. There are people who, meticulously clean their barn. They scrape it up, scoop it up every day almost. Keep that barn just showroom clean. That's just not a good idea for winter, because I allow that hay that the goats spill, and the manure that they stomp into the hay, and the urine that soaks it all down, and it forms a mat. And that mat can get 8 to 10 inches thick by midwinter. And you know what happens in that mat? The hay starts to decompose and it starts to rot. And what does decomposition do to hay? It releases heat. It creates heat. And the animals actually will lay down on that floor and they will stay warm because there's heat coming up. My mom in North Dakota, we're talking, 20, 30 below zero. She would go out in the morning to go milk the cow, and she would all bundle up and be all bundled up to get to the barn. But once she got to the barn and shut the door behind her, then she took her coat off because it was warm in the barn. They didn't have heat, but Grandpa did that practice, and because of the body heat of the animals and the heat coming up from the mat on the ground, that didn't get cleaned up until spring. That would get dug out and put in the garden in the spring, but in the wintertime, that was the heat source. So that works. 12 inches of straw in the coop. Yep, that works. Yeah. Yes, you can't store, John, good point. You can't store bleach. Man, you can't store bottled bleach liquid form. Think about it when you walk through the bleach aisle in the laundry section in the grocery store. What do you smell? Chlorine. How do you smell chlorine? Because it's working its way through the plastic that's in those bottles on the shelf, and you can smell it. So if you can smell it, that means it is losing its power every day it sits there. And if you go to the swimming pool section and go to the place where they have the Super Shock powder that's powdered chlorine, you know what? You can smell the chlorine there too. I have tried saving the Super Shock powder completely sealed up in very good containers, and you know what? After a year, that stuff went bad too. So it's real hard to make that stuff clean. If you got a long-term, long-range plan for making water, investigate a slow sand filter. That works and doesn't need chlorine. Okay, Saturday, minus 25 in central Wisconsin. It's going to make digging clams a little hard, John. Store milk or fresh? Fresh will last longer than store. Okay. I'm not worried about it. Even if we lost power and all of our refrigerators went bad, it'll probably be cold enough. You could set the stuff, out on the porch. It would stay cold enough if it wouldn't freeze up. And it's coming back. The power's going to come back. For long term, we do have powdered milk, but that stuff is terrible. So I'll wait. We have a little extra, and we can keep it cold. Even if the refrigerator quits, we can put it in a place outdoors where it'll stay cold. So. Oh, your chickens have their own solar-powered house insulated with stereo and solar heat. Sure you do. Go move in with them. Yeah, board games are good. This is where transistor radio comes in handy. And I mean a little transistor radio that takes a battery. At least you'll have something to listen to. Ruth, maybe your sister wants you to move back to Minnesota so that you can take care of her. Maybe you're the smart one, and she knows you'll have good ideas. Yeah, we've got some of the boxed milk too, and we've got powdered milk in number 10 tins that'll last, till Jesus comes. We even have chocolate milk in those tins. Yes, some way to tell time that you don't have to plug in. Keep your phones charged up. Yep. Yeah, I think so, Ruth. You're a pretty smart cookie. You're going to be a big asset to your sisters. That's why she wants you up there. So, okay, I think we've covered a whole lot here. Yeah, learn a guitar. Guitars and writing music is fun during a power outage. Yeah. Baby wipes for hygiene in a pinch. Great idea, but if they're frozen, they're rude. They can be very unpleasant. You need some heat, folks. You need to get, some extra blankets. And I'll tell you, here's a good clue, too. Whenever Terry and I are going anywhere, she says, is it cool enough to need a coat? I said, no, but bring one anyway. She says, and she quit asking me why because she knows why. What happens if the car breaks down and we have to walk a mile or two? It may not need a coat to get to the car, but you may need a coat to walk a mile or two. Plan on that. And we used to keep in our Suburban, on our Blazer. It's a kind of short, compact Suburban. In that Blazer, we used to keep certain supplies. One of those supplies was a sleeping bag, a rolled up, compact sleeping bag, because that is a great blanket. And we also kept jumper cables. We kept various things in there, drinking water, some emergency food, even flashlight, an emergency kit in the Blazer. And I was coming down from Snoqualmie Pass, and we came across a car on the side of the road, and a man and his wife, and he was looking under the hood, and something was wrong. And I stopped. I don't just wave at people as I go by, right? I stopped. They had some kind of engine trouble. They had been skiing all day. They had just gotten into their car and gotten maybe a mile past the ski slopes. Their car hadn't even warmed up yet when it conked out. And his wife was cold and wet, and she was not getting warm. So first thing, I said, let's get your wife into my truck where the heater is. And you know what? No questions asked. Boom. They were there. And we talked about it when we got him in the car. Put her in the front seat, got her bagged up, and opened up the bottom of the bag so that the heat could get in there. And then I was talking with her husband about options. And I said, neither one of us knows what's wrong, but something's wrong, and we're probably not going to be able to fix it here. We don't have our tools anyway. Why don't I drive you guys down to North Bend, which was the next town? And I said, I know a good mechanic there. He'll take care of you. And I said, and you can trust him. And so we did. And that guy's wife didn't say a word until we got almost all the way down into North Bend. It took her that long to warm up enough to say thank you. She was freezing. She was on the stages of hypothermia. I'm sure glad we had that sleeping bag in the car. These kind of things are very important things to have. So, yeah, keep that stuff with you. All right. That's if you do one thing, buy a cheap sleeping bag. And it doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be, high tech or anything. Just a cheap sleeping bag. And roll it up, put it in some trash bags to keep it dry, and put it in your car, in your trunk, put it somewhere so that you can get it, because you may need that. Especially if you're in a cold area, that's the time you need it. You don't need it in the summer in Atlanta, Texas, but you would need it in yeah, okay, yeah, solar sidewalk lights. Those things work for about a year. Continue operating, charge up in the day, light at night. Yeah, you make sure your medications are up. Good point. Hey, Delaney, yeah, you gotta win. Sometimes being small is the best advantage. Yes, not only have a backup, but have a backup for your backup. I mean, we have propane heat in the house. Then we have the wood stove. Then we have a generator to run all that. And then we have a diesel heater that'll run on 12 volts. We got a primary, a backup, and a backup for the backup, and then another backup. So the more important it is, the more backups you need. Okay. All right. There you go, Dawn. She's a good neighbor. She's a neighbor just up the road from us. A wool blanket in the truck. Yep, a wool blanket will work. So it's all good. By the way, Dawn, I have a thank you card for you that came to us because Dale and Cheryl didn't have your address. So they mailed us the thank you card to you for that beautiful crocheted blanket you made for Dale. And okay. Socks and hats. Yep. And there you go. Here's a rule, a backpacker rule. If your feet are cold, put on your hat. You lose a ton of heat through your head. And if your feet are cold, your body is trying to restrict the blood flow to keep your core warm. So if you put on a hat, your core temperature is going to rise and the circulation will open back up to your feet. That's a real thing. So keep toboggans, keep hats. I got 2 of them right there. So, oh yes, hand warmer packets. Those are, my daughter works in the oil field and she's outside in all of this weather and she buys those things by the case. Those little hot hands, you take them and you wrinkle them up and then put them in your gloves and they'll stay warm for hours. You can put them in your pockets, back pockets, front pockets, shirt pocket, in your gloves. They're flat. Those things will keep you warm. They're really good. Yep, Costco, big case. They are helpful, big helpful things. And think about what food you're going to eat. And, get some party stuff. Have some fun with this thing. All right? Really. enjoy it. Take the advice that, or the memory that I have when I was a kid, when we had a big power outage. We weren't surviving. We were camping in the living room, and everybody loves camping. So plan it. Hey, if you got a gas stove, make sure you have some marshmallows. You can toast marshmallows over a gas burner in the stove, in the kitchen. Our kids used to do it all the time. and it works. So have yourself a toasted marshmallow on the storm, all right? Yep. I didn't know there were rechargeable hand warmers, but that would be cool. All right. Okay, I think we're done. Well, Kleiner wrote, Hex, you don't like marshmallows? Marshmallows are fun. Most people like marshmallows. You can make your own with Knox gelatin and honey. And you get the Knox gelatin and mix it up, and then hit it with a mixer, and just like meringue, you whip it up into a tight foam, and you have honey in that, and then you can take that stuff and put it in the. You can even cut it into the squares and put it in the freezer, and you take them out and float them in your hot cocoa. Works great. And you can make your own marshmallows. So. Oh, absolutely. You have to be able to make coffee. And if you don't know how to make coffee without your K-cup machine or your fancy percolator, get on the internet right now before it goes down and learn about Cowboy Coffee and how that works. That is some of the best coffee ever. Yeah, no modified cornstarch. You can make your own. Knox gelatin and honey, that's all that's in it. And you whip it up. You make the Knox gelatin, and while it's still liquid, you put your mixer in there and keep, like you're going to whip whites of eggs and make meringue. And you sweeten it with honey. It would be far better than store-bought marshmallows. Only 3 ways to make coffee, Lone Palm? Let me see. What I count up the other day, we've got a K-cup machine, we've got an espresso machine that's electric, we've got an espresso machine that's stovetop, we have 2 French presses, and we have the camping percolators. We've got 3 of those, and then we've got lots of pots and pans. So, Yep, steep it like tea in an emergency. And if you take, here's a trick. Once you steep the grounds in the coffee, some of them will settle by themselves, but some of them will always stay floating. So what you do is you just take a little bit of, if you had ice chips, that's fine. If you have some snow, you can do that. Just sprinkle a little snow across the top. If you have cold water, just drizzle it in a circle across the top, and as that cold falls through the coffee, it'll drag all those little particles to the bottom, and on top of that will be perfectly clear coffee that you don't have to filter. Yep, just boil the water. Yep, French presses work. Okay. All right. Hey, look, I gotta go. We haven't even had our Bible study today, but this is probably important because most all of you are gonna get hit, and I pray none of you do. I hope this whole storm just goes away and doesn't mess anybody up. But do think about it. Think about what could happen and have a plan. Don't do it the way I tell you. Just take, like my dad used to say, take my advice, then do as you please. And if my advice pleases you, then that's a good thing. But I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to give you options or share with you some options. That's real preparedness. Preparedness is here. Preparedness is in your head, how you think about things and how you deal with things, and that you anticipate the possibilities, and then come up with a good plan for when things do go south. All right, make a list. Yeah, good, Delaney. Appreciate it. That would be good stuff. Oh, yes, Delaney, and make sure the laundry's done. Clean clothes will keep you warmer. That's a thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's close in prayer then, okay? God bless you all. See you tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll have Moni. And get on there, the forum, and write testimonies. We need them. All right? God bless. See you tomorrow. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the brain you gave us, the Spirit of God that dwells within us. And Lord, with the wisdom of God, help us, Lord, to do the right things, to be in the right place to help others, to show kindness not only one to another, but to everyone we meet. Lord, that people in the midst of trouble will see the hope that we have in Christ, the power of your Spirit to make a difference. And Lord, we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you all.
Know you live a hard life, my friend, and sometimes you've had your fill. And when you live your life in the name of Jesus Christ, well, sometimes it's harder still. But do not weary in well-doing, or just cast your cares upon Him. He began a good work in you, and He'll be true to see you through. But just keep your eyes on Him, for He who overcomes will inherit all things. We'll belong to Him, and He just have to ask of Him. And now I pray these words that you'll hide them in your heart to sustain you on your way, to live your life for Jesus Christ. There is no better sacrifice. And on that final day, he who overcomes will inherit all things, and will belong to Him, and He will be our King. He who overcomes will see Him on the throne, and He will be our God, and we will be His own. Oh Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know me when I sit and when I rise. You see my thoughts from far away. You watch over me with unfailing eyes. And before I can speak, before a word is on my tongue, you always know just what I'll say. Your knowledge and your plans are far too wonderful for me, but you always listen anyway. Search me, oh God, and know my heart, and let me know what I should do. For the purpose of my life is to be in your will, and the pleasure of my life is pleasing you. And when I do wrong, well, like a child I always run and foolishly try to hide. Oh, won't I ever learn that you can see all of me, even what is way down deep inside? Sometimes it's harder still, but do not weary in well doing. Or just cast your cares upon Him. He began a good work in you, and He'll be true to see you through. But just keep your eyes on Him, for He who overcomes will inherit all things, and we'll belong to Him, and He will be our King. He who overcomes, we'll see Him on the throne, and He will be our guide, and we will be His own. Well, in the strength of Jesus, we can do most anything. So do not be afraid, the price has already been paid. But we'll just have to ask of Him. And now I pray these words that you'll hide them in your heart, to sustain you on your way, to live